Preparing. Got it. Everybody get them. And then Walter
Yeah.
gets host. You ready for host? There you go. Walter, you got it. And we're live on YouTube. Walter? We're live. Where's Walter? Where's the captain? He's got host. He's got to hit record.
Marta.
Well, this is kind of a
Walter.
letdown.
Joe, I am not
Walt.
host. Joe, I'm not host.
Oh, shit.
Joe.
Professor Lee is host.
What?
That is true.
And Lee is host.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to give
Professor
this. Well, who should be
Give that
host?
to Walter.
Would you
Walter.
please?
Okay.
I would appreciate it.
Viking Zoom Lord just claimed host.
Oh,
Now it's back to Joe.
pass the duty upon the left.
I think you should
side, I
stop
say,
YouTube.
pass the duty.
Stop YouTube, Joe, and make me
But
host.
just,
Or whatever you want.
you just.
This is
Joe,
actually
you're host. Can you make me host, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Got it. You got it.
Gosh darn it, I have the power.
All right. And you're gonna have to save to your machine. The cloud is full.
Okay, will do. I'm not very good at this. I hate this. Oh. Hi, welcome to the Autonomous Collective on July 7th, 2023. Canada just celebrated the country's birthday on July 1st, and America is celebrating July 14th, Independence Day, or as the British call it, Liberation Day, the day the rebellious child still living at home finally left. Happy 4th of July, America, or known by its other name of the Purge. Some people got off to early celebrations from the nation's capital to Fort Worth, Texas, from Florin, California in the west to the Bronx, New York in the east. The 4th of July weekend in the U.S. was overshadowed by 16 mass shootings in which 15 people were killed and nearly 100 injured. As Reuters reports, in a separate mass shooting in Philadelphia on Monday evening, 5 people were killed. 2 were wounded, including a 2-year-old boy and a 13-year-old boy, both of whom were shot in the legs, when a suspect in body armor and armed with an AR-15 opened fire on strangers, according to local police. The Monday night shootings came a day after 2 people were shot dead and 28 others injured, about half of them children, in a hail of gunfire at a neighborhood block party in Baltimore. There have been over 340 mass shootings in the country so far in 2023, according to data collected by the Gun Violence Archive. The dead ranged in age from 15 to 59. The latest shootings took place around the anniversary of last year's Highland Park mass shooting near Chicago, where 7 people were killed and 48 others wounded at an Independence Day parade. A 22-year-old man remains in custody after being indicted on 117 felony charges for the carnage. America, I know that the Statue of Liberty doesn't shine as much as it used to. I know that it's hard living on your own, becoming the supreme wartime leader of the world and finding it hard to mix with other people. However, you have left the nest to hopefully become better than you have been. You have said no to the crown that resides in Britain, but still help out the old girl when you can. Part of growing up is to protect the people you love. Part of growing up is to think things through and critically read what is in your Constitution. A well-armed militia, as the Constitution states, is not a right to carry a rifle into a shopping mall. A well-armed militia is not a right to carry a handgun to save you from the government. You were a rebellious teenager, but now you are getting long in the tooth. Time to grow up, put that AR-15 on the ground and kick it over here. There are some people in Ukraine who can use it. We will be right back. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Autonomous Collective, or as we call it, a bunch of automouses. We have Lane's not feeling well, but I hope he chimes in when he can. I'd appreciate that. And we're going to go straight to our chef,
Hey there,
Joe
Walter.
from Norway. Hiya, Joe. How are you?
Quite well, although I'm a bit nervous now. I haven't heard back from the kids. They're visiting grandma in the States. Maybe I should be
Really?
concerned.
Wow.
Well, they are getting weapons training from my brother. So
Weapons training, you
the
say, in
positive
Ohio?
thing. Indeed. Indeed.
Okay. Well, what kind of weapons?
Oh, I don't think they chose the dinner table like this, like I've got this decked out. Just imagine it full of firearms. They had a choice. We're not sure. Probably
Well-
a 9mm of some sort,
Well, you know,
and then a 222 rifle, something like
I hear you, man.
Hmm.
What are you going to cook for us today, Joe?
that. Yep. Well, I thought I'd try to do something festive for this post-patriotic shenanigans.
Right.
As you can imagine, well, everywhere food is expensive, but particularly in Norway, it's kind of hard to get certain things. But we've
Mhm.
had cauliflower lately coming in, local cauliflower coming in.
Local
and
cauliflower.
there was-
What color? White
there
or
were-
green?
These were white, greenish on the inside.
Awesome.
But it's a bit shabby. It was cast out. They were throwing it away because it didn't meet the aesthetic requirements. So I took advantage of that, and it's all very limp. So that you might think that's a disadvantage, but what I'm going to do is liven it up by deep frying it in the spirit of the 4th of July. And we're going to make a kind of cornstarch slurry that will lightly coat it, and then I'll crisp it up, deep frying it, and then I'll make a variety of chilies and a sweet chili sauce, coat it in a glaze with some toasted sesame, and we got garlic, ginger, and some scallion, and your favorite, little bit of coriander,
Oh, yeah.
cilantro, and I'll be making some. First, the main dish would be the rice. I'll make some coconut rice, and we had recently imported Pakistani mangoes. These are beautiful, floral, very fragrant, creamy mangoes that so we have a lot of Pakistani immigrants in Norway. So every season we get pallets full of these, in town, and it's a lovely little treat. So I'll make coconut rice with mango, sliced mango on top. Real
So are you
simple.
making this inside the house or outside?
This will all be done inside.
Okay. Well, my friend, we will let you get started, and we'll check back in with you when we can.
Yep.
Okay.
Will do.
You are a good guy. Let us bring in Professor Ann Lee. Here we go. And before we start, if Lane's still out here, we got a letter from the BBC. Hold on, let me do this. That, because he was wondering if we had copyright for some of the ones that we used. Here we go. So I had Bragosian here. So I'll read the letter. Dear Autonomous Collective, we have recently learned of your use of Doctor Who characters in your show to describe members of the Russian establishment. Your use of the Sonitarian to describe Perosian is quite apt. Your use of the Solarian to describe Margarita Simenon is altogether an egregious error in judgment. The Solarian is a kind and thoughtful creature who has lived inside the earth for thousands of years. Margarita is a slithering reptile who lives on the earth and does not possess the qualities of a Solarian. We wish to point that out to you. Kind regards, the Beebs. P.S. Charles would like to know if Lane is available for tea. So I hope that allays your concerns, Lane, and let us go to Ann Lee. Hi, Ann. How are you doing, my dear?
Good. Up chuck, indeed.
So I see, just to kick it off, I see there's been a lot going on in Russia and the Ukraine, and I see Prigozhin's, excuse me, been spotted in St. Petersburg, where he's supposed to stay in Belarus.
We actually sort of don't know where he is. It's actually quite interesting, the kind of information disinformation. Apparently, somebody raided his home in St. Petersburg, seized some weapons. I think he has every right to defend himself, but the FSB apparently gave him his guns back, which led some reporters to say that, well, if they give him his guns back, then he's not in any trouble. That doesn't necessarily follow from that.
Did they give him his gold back too?
Oh, I don't think they did that, if they found any.
Okay.
Lukashenko has sort of punted, which is sort of interesting. He sort of says, well, we sort of made this agreement, but then we didn't make this agreement. So who knows what that is? The reporting says that they're going to set aside a couple of old Soviet bases for Wagner, but that's not clear yet, and no actual moves have been made. I think a lot of it is still simply a Russian bureaucracy at work trying to figure out which troops are going to go where. And then each unit has to sort of decide whether it's going to join the Ministry of Defense and get paid less money or what. And then there's this sort of vague area of recruited prisoners who, should or shouldn't be there. And if they've done their 6 months or their whatever that tour of duty is, whether they're going to be released into the Russian population. It's unclear whether they can be released anywhere else. So that's kind of weird too. So it's a big shell game at the present moment. And Prigozhin, well, there also are a whole series of heroes of Russia who are sort of major figures in the MOD who are kind of disappearing, whatever that means. They're just, people haven't seen them recently. So those folks are missing. It's kind of an interesting situation. The big news today, of course, is cluster munitions. I put up a thing at Daily Kos about it. It's kind of a big deal today. Even Wikipedia upgraded its page because July 7th is essentially the day the 500th day or almost 500th day of the war, to announce that cluster munitions are going to Ukraine. Now, the important thing to remember is that, and I can describe what went on in today's Pentagon press conference, but the big issue is that these munitions are simply being transferred from NATO stocks because they were going to be used at some moment against the Soviet Union or whatever, and or Russia. And so essentially they're backfilling any perceived shortages in artillery rounds. It seems that most of these are artillery and not HIMARS rounds. We don't really know for sure. I think part of it is information and disinformation. Largely, this is the kind of weapon that is used against people in trenches. And with respect, this should actually clear lots of trenches if done properly. So that's kind of most of this stuff is, I mean, this particular round of cluster munitions has been around since the 1970s, and stuff gets old, and the technology is changing. The issue for rationalizing the use of cluster munitions by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan today was to state that it's essentially, and he didn't say this, but my perception of it is that we are Florida men, whatever that means, that we're supposed to, Ukraine is supposed to stand its ground, and we're just giving them weapons to do it. It's a kind of, as they say, a castle defense. And
right. It's a peer weapon, though, is what the United States says, right? Because the other guys have it, like China and Russia, we get to have it.
Russia, as the current image that is floating around Twitter or the interwebs, is the casings from missile launched Russian cluster munitions, and it looks like they've already been used. They've been using a lot of them. The Russians have. In their initial attack, they clearly did. You could actually identify the cluster munitions going off. There's video of it.
Right.
The point, of course, and of course, there's a couple of railway stations they use this against. It's just awful to see the carnage. The point is that the difference between the Russians and the Ukrainians is that the Russians don't care who they hit. And in particular, it's much more terrorizing to use these against civilians. The Ukrainian use of them is going to be largely against these huge defensive networks that they've put up, I would suppose. And so they're actually going to be used in, military conflict as opposed to terrorizing civilian populations. The remaining issue that underlies all this is, of course, the US's attempt to sort of thread the needle on this, because, of course, millions of cluster type munitions have been dropped on all kinds of countries from the Vietnam War on. The most egregious example being Laos, where they're still demining the country. So that's the kind of concern for folks. And so the key quantitative figure is the issue of dud rate, so-called dud rate, DUD. That is, it's the failure rate of munitions to explode upon launch. That is, a cluster munition is a thing that carries lots of little 30 whatever bomblets, and just before it re-enters the target area, it throws out at a couple thousand feet these little bomblet things, and they don't have parachutes or whatever. They just get spread, and they should explode on impact. Sometimes they don't. Now, the difference in technology is that old style cluster munitions have a mechanical style trigger to it, pin or whatever, and so that it mechanically arms as it's being launched, and so it should explode when it hits the ground. The new ones have sensors, which actually are better because they don't, fail. The failure rate is lower. So newer cluster munitions have a so-called 1%, or the goal was to get to 1%. The US actually signed some memoranda to say, well, we're going to try and get it down to 1%. Technically, I don't think they're real close to it. The number mentioned today was that there was a 2.5% fail rate or dud rate on the current level of munitions. Now, I don't, do I believe that reporting? Well, if you've got a lot of surplus ammo, the older ammunition has anywhere from a 14 to 23% dud rate, and Advisor Sullivan said that the Russians are firing cluster munitions with a 30 to 40% dud rate.
Right.
So it's, regardless, in a post-war environment, demining is going to be.
Yeah, the mining is going to be terrible. I was going to say, I have internet problems today, Anne. Could you make me a co-host? I dropped out and came back in.
Oh, okay.
If you don't mind, co-host.
No, not a problem.
Right. No.
Welcome.
So these mines and these dud mines, they're going to be left over after the war is done, and farmers or kids or something are going to step into them. But Russia and Ukraine both have used these cluster munitions before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the standard kind of armament for mainly anti-personnel. And as I said, the Russians have developed a kind of 3-layer defense network on the south end, or the western side, I guess, of Donetsk, and or towards Zaporizhzhia. And I apologize for mispronouncing these. And the defensive network is essentially what's being currently probed. The entire war looks it's interesting, and there's no Russian advancement. It's all Russian kind of defensive work, kind of waiting for the whatever huge counterattack is going to occur. And we're still not really there with the bulk of the counterattack. They're doing all kinds of other weird cosmetic things.
Right.
They declared a kind of new naval headquarters in Mariupol with 3, I think they're using corvettes, not the kind with wheels, but the kind of miniature frigate, something smaller, I guess, than a frigate. And anyway, they got 3 of them in the Sea of Azov, and it would be sort of sad to see them sink, but that could happen too soon.
What about these drones? There were more drones in Moscow.
Oh, yes, it's more, and they're attacking the same places, essentially. They're not attacking really high, well, at least from the mapping of the fires, the fire mapping is that it's generally in the western suburbs. And if these are terror weapons, they're not huge terror weapons. They're not hitting anything like tower blocks, as far as I can tell. They're generally trying to send a message to the Saviki I think they're just trying to needle the Russian leadership and perhaps encourage, as they say, Putin to go. I mean, I would guess that that's what it is. It's essentially, sort of propaganda stuff. I don't think it's being launched from a very far distance, but pretty much laterally from the other side of Moscow. Now, that's just my guess, but when you look at the patterns, that's kind of what it looks like they're doing. They're loitering munitions. I think they're very small, portable loitering munitions that aren't a huge, don't make a huge amount of problems. Just probably blow a side in a house or something. I think that's a kind of thing. They're kind of like I'm not sure what type of weapon they are, but they are a weapon that does that kind of thing.
Right. I hate to say this, but I dropped out again, but I heard every word. Could you make me co-host again? Oh,
Okay.
this is not going to be good. So I hope Lane's going to be around if I drop out and carry on.
You're still co-host from my.
Oh, am I? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear. Yes, I
I
is.
I had
up
a
to
question for Anne.
Oh, sure.
Sure, put your
Possibly,
hand up, Joe. Oh, you did.
it's been
I
up.
did.
It's been up. Um,
Well, I didn't see
possibly
it.
a
I dropped out.
possibly possibly a naive question, but when I first heard about the cluster munition sale, I thought, what would be in the country receiving the cluster munitions who's having a war on their territory? Why would it be in their interest to accept these munitions and bomb their own land, which they have all intention of regaining back?
Well, the only,
And
yeah,
I
yes.
hadn't understood that have been using them. So
Well, both sides have been using cluster munitions. Let's be sort of honest about that. It's
Okay.
clear that the Russians have been using a lot more cluster munitions and against civilians, which the Ukrainians generally are not. Actually, if they're doing any real terrorizing, it's highly more precise strikes. They reserve the advanced munitions to hit high value targets. They've dropped a couple of cruise missiles on various people. But the point being is that cluster munitions will probably play a big factor in this counteroffensive, because as I just said, the what you use them for in a military context is against defensive works like trenches, etc. The problem is that you have a 600-kilometer front line, and troops are really widely dispersed. So you don't use these unless you've got a relatively, kind of clustered group of personnel in one place. So a single cluster bomb strike will take out if you're lucky, a platoon or something. So these weapons are terrorizing. All weapons are terrorizing, but I think it's mainly to be used to move the counteroffensive forward,
Right.
as opposed to the Russian use, which is to just simply scare people.
Right. So,
these
hey,
are
Joe.
these are the same type of munitions that are still being dug up and still being exploded in Laos and Southeast Asia from the U.S. war in Southeast Asia, correct?
They were developed in the 70s for that kind of purpose. They're slightly more advanced than the ones originally developed, and they have a little. As I said, the dud rate is actually very important, because the U.S. has actually tried to reduce those numbers, mainly because we're one of the major culprits in using these things, and unfortunately, you're used in more sort of neo-colonial conflicts. You use these kind of things to clear large groups of people.
Right. Joe, I got a question for you. That white stuff that you're mixing up, did you get that from the White House? Because I
It
think
cost a pretty penny.
I think Anne's going to talk about cocaine bears now, right? So.
Oh, by the way, this was a cornstarch slurry, not a cocaine slurry.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you, Joe. Looking good. Looking good, Joe, as usual.
Thank you.
No, I'm hungry. Yeah, cocaine in the White House. There was. I assume this is meant to distract from all the other troubles that previous guy, the orange guy, is having.
They found it in the visitor section, right? I didn't know Hunter had to go through the visitor section to see his dad.
Well, I think they're probably going to release some information about saying exactly where he was. Biden, the first family was at Camp David for the whole weekend, so it wasn't them. It was announced to be a large bag, but in fact, it's probably the size of I guess what the kids call a dime bag, and that it was thrown into sort of a cubby on the level below the West Wing, which on the west side of the White House is a slightly lower area. It's like 2 stories, and this is the basement side. But the press has been misrepresenting it in a whole variety of ways. It is, yes, near the the Situation Room, but the Situation Room is under construction. So, who knows whose bag it is. In fact, it could be somebody working on the reconstruction. It's a traffic area, but not really a traffic area that you get to unless you're on a private tour or something. That's what they say. They've been working backwards and forwards on this. For example, the disinformation from the right wing, it's I think she's the editor of the Federalist Journal, big right wing journal that has affected the positioning of right wing judges. She decided to tweet out that maybe it's Jill's stash. So, you can see that this is all acting on a kind of really weird area. Secret Service says they're going to have a conclusion or at least a report on it. They're going to close their investigation by Monday. So I think they're already closing in on whoever left it or some solution. It's no big deal. And I assume it's an intervention made by someone to simply try and keep the Hunter Biden thing afloat.
Well, that'd be a loony bag in Canada, not a dime bag. What it would be. Wow, that's something else.
Well, it seemed to be problematic because then people started speculating about the party habits of the Secret Service. They tend not to use drugs. They tend to drink a lot. And as we know in prior events that.
So it'd be a boomer then, because right? Because the younger ones would use uppers or something. In a Situation Room, you need something
who knows?
fast. Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
What the articles that have come up are kind of interesting because I hadn't realized that FDR was given coke a fair amount, but he probably didn't realize he was being given coke, which was sort of interesting. It was mainly given to treat his sinuses, and the report, I think it's a Guardian report that does talking to a historian, was that even on December 7th, FDR had a swab up his nose. But he may not have known that it was good.
So he just wasn't a fan of Coca-Cola. That might not have been the case.
Indeed. There are a lot of other weird stories of drug use, JFK smoking pot. A lot of really interesting stories, and probably only the tip of the iceberg, really, relative to kind of the dark history of the White House. So
yeah. No, that's for sure.
The fact is, once you start getting this context, this isn't such a big deal, and you can see that it was only designed as a target of opportunities by someone, or someone incredibly stupid, because there's surveillance cameras everywhere, and it's meant to prop up that Hunter Biden mythology.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Thank you so much. I think
Walt, you froze us for a second there.
Are the wildfires closing in?
This is a disgrace.
I think Jim's here.
Good evening, Jim.
Hello.
Hey, Jim.
What is it my knife skills? Are they off or something? What's the problem here?
No, I think your knife skills are really erotic, to tell you the truth, if you want to get into it.
Walt, I think, needs to cut. Hey, Walt, are you back?
Sorry about that, Ann. Yeah, I'm back.
You're still co-host.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We could do 2 hours with you very easy. And thank you for spending your time with us on these Fridays. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me here, and I look forward to listening to Jim and Martha.
Yeah, that'd be good. And you can read Anne in the Daily Costs. She writes a column on Ukraine, among other things. Just before you go, Professor John, I had this icon for him. He suggested this one. Okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's right. So coming right up, we're going to be with Jim and Martha. So let us get them in. Whoops. Oh, wow. Hi. Let's get you in here, boys and girls. Jim and Martha. There you are. And hi, Jim. Hi, Martha. How are you?
Hi, everyone.
I'm having internet issues today, so in case I disappear, just carry on.
Okay, we'll take over the show because what's happened so far is an utter disgrace.
It is actually, to be honest. That's right. I mean, he's going to use coriander leaf, Joe, as you could see in the corner there.
I wasn't
And that's
talking
just
about the coriander.
Yeah, just disgraceful. Do you want to give us an update on your meal so far there, Coriander Joe?
Sure, we're nearly
Joe
finished with
Cilantro?
all. Yeah, we're nearly finished with all the prep. Sorry to set you off with the cilantro there, Walter. I
Yeah,
didn't
you should be
realize
sorry.
it would come across. And so I had a bunch of chili, pickled chilies, and I have a couple fresh banana pepper, and then a jalapeno type pepper or chili, scallion, and I turn this into a sweet and sour sauce. Sorry, diabetics, this one's going to go on the sweet side, but you can maybe use agave. I don't know if that would work as an alternative. Still a lot of sugar. We've got,
You got the
course
cauliflower with cocaine there.
Yeah, the cocaine slurry cauliflower.
Oh, sorry,
We're
cornstarch.
We're about to deep fry those suckers and then get the sauce going at the same time, and then transfer once they're finished frying, we'll toss them right in the sauce and they're ready to go.
Oh, that sounds good. Toss them right in the sauce. That's what my old man used to say.
And our coconut rice is finished. That just took 15 minutes. All done. Steaming there.
Coconut rice.
Coconut rice, my
Yes.
friends.
With Pakistani mango over it. We just got these prize mangoes in town in season.
Prize mangoes. That sounds like a boxer. My dad was a boxer in the Okanagan, used to box apples. That was his joke. So not much of a joke. How are you, Jim and Martha? Did you guys have a good July 4th weekend, long week?
Sure. It kind of rained. It was very rainy, unpatriotic weather. Not too many fireworks in the rain. You know,
That's probably
we
a good thing.
Americans like to blow things up and explode things,
And deep fry.
celebrate and deep fry.
And
Yeah.
deep fries, right?
We should have to make some cluster fireworks, just to really show the public how war is done. On this
Well, there was a number of people that were injured. One woman was killed in the middle of America somewhere. One of those big fireworks explosions went sideways into the crowd and took out a few people.
Was it a gender reveal?
Big time.
Apparently that happened in the States, and it just happened in Vancouver, where they set fire to a whole bunch of stuff in the middle of a drought.
Did Anne get into the history of cluster bombs? The history of them?
Not that I know of.
Oh, I posted a history of cluster bombs, but go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Jim. Let's see if you're smarter than Ann.
no, well, the Nazis,
The
they had
Nazis.
their butterfly bombs,
Yes,
bombed Finland with in 1938 or 39.
39, yes.
And then, oh yeah, the Russians had the Molotov cocktail bread baskets, they called them,
Mhm.
or the other, and so.
Well, the
yeah,
Finns called them Molotov cocktails. Yes, that's the Finns
yeah, yeah.
gave it the name.
And then we used them a whole bunch in Vietnam, obviously. You probably went over that. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So yes, that's where we are presently.
Is that it, Jim? You got
I
more?
just think that if we're going to celebrate our country's independence, our sacred day of independence, we should make it more realistic. And
More fireworks.
more fireworks, but just make them real, real bombs and cluster bombs, because as long as we keep funding all these wars, they should get used to it.
Oh,
And
indeed.
Yes. Yes, that's true. Martha, how's Jim's garden growing?
It's growing. Big.
Excellent.
It's yeah. We had so much rain though. We lost, well, some of the flowers got a little mushy. I think we lost a tomatillo plant maybe, and a kale plant just
Oh.
because of all the rain. But
yeah, that was tragic. It was,
Yeah.
That's that. Do you eat kale? Right?
oh yeah, I love.
I don't know.
Yes, I eat kale. What was that? What are you doing?
You're stretching your face. It makes you look younger.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, it's supposed to.
Well,
Kale's good for your skin, apparently, or maybe bad for it. That's why you look younger. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, right now. So it's a pleasure to see you guys. I had a couple of questions for you, Jim, but I don't know if I should ask them. I hardly know you, so.
no, you can ask me anything. Go ahead. I'm an open book.
Are you?
I'm an open book. My heart is an open book.
Okay. As I scan through the audience and looking for other questions to save me. Oh geez, you guys are bad. Nobody has questions for Jim and Martha. I don't know why. So how's your breathing weather right now? How's the air conditions? We're about a 4 out of 10 here.
I think
And
we're
you're on
50
100. You're on a scale of 100. So you guys got to get to metric.
I think we're on
Much easier.
like 56 in the last few days on this
Okay.
air quality AQI thing, which it's kind of hard to begin with because we're near a bunch of Kennebunk and the coast of
Kennebunk.
Maine has a lot of swampy areas and wetland areas, so everything's kind of damp to begin with, and rivers, rivulets, creeks surrounding everything.
Right.
So it's already kind of moldy piles of leaves.
Are you keeping up with the writer's strike still? Because I guess the actors are going on strike as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope everybody goes on strike at once. The UPS supposed to be going on a strike, aren't they?
UPS, you say?
Yeah, the Teamsters.
Well, that would be good. Just shut the whole thing down and we'll have to go back to the radio.
Yeah.
No, there's writers on radio. No, there's no writers on radio. They just do commercial jingles now. Right. What about you got an eye on the election right now? There's been who was it? Ann Applebaum wrote an article on saying that Cornel West should run with the Democrats. I think it was Ann. Might have been somebody else, but and
Am I still
you're
being heard?
you're pretty frozen. You look good though. I have to say that.
Yeah.
You look-
Well, it's the kale. The kale is just frozen. Yes, that's what happens when you not only eat it, but you plaster it. You pulverize it and plaster it all over your skin.
Yeah.
That's very offensive. What you're doing is just offensive to Martha's culture.
Gonna look 5 years younger. I mean, but no thoughts on Cornel West maybe joining the Democratic primary instead of the being in the, I think he's going to be with the Green Party now. Yeah.
I think he's going to be in the Green Party. Yeah.
Yeah. So did he leave the People's Party, or is he going to do both?
I think he left the People's Party, but he did it in kind of what am I, cowardly way. He didn't really condemn them.
Oh, okay.
Which
I
I
think they
think-
were only available in one state to run anyways. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure why you would
Yeah.
do that.
And they're having a little sexual abuse scandal going on.
Yes.
And so
Well,
that's not good.
more of a Me Too scandal, I think. Well, I guess that's sexual abuse, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And they're,
Right.
it's run by an anti-vaxxer, which is stupid. And
Kennedy runs the Green Party?
no, they're big fans of Kennedy
Oh, okay.
and
That's
Jimmy
right.
Dore.
Now, who's not a fan of Jimmy Dore? I mean, like,
Good question.
all that charisma. The Green Party, I don't know, Anne, maybe if you know it, are they in all 50 states? Or are they only in a few
They're
states?
currently in about 25 states, as far as I can
25
tell from a
states.
mapping point of view.
So if you win all
People's
25
Party was
states,
only one.
if you win all 25 states, are you president?
Well, there could be leverage if you go back to 2016 and the Libertarians and the Greens in Michigan, but
That's true.
we don't want to beat that dead horse.
Not at all. So, cocaine in the White House, Jim, Martha, what are your thoughts? More, less? Does it help?
I think they need more.
Yeah.
What are we
Meth.
looking at with Jim's video here?
I don't
I
know.
know we're looking at my FaceTime camera focusing on the keyboard area of my laptop, which is hooked up to a bigger screen, and the camera on top of the bigger screen, which isn't, for some reason, is not accessing this Zoom page. So I got to go into system settings. This is kind of like
You
Let's say
sure it's
listening
not
to-
in the Zoom app? You can reverse, there's an icon to reverse the camera in Zoom there. Should be able to do it right in Zoom.
Now it says I'm on FaceTime camera. This is fascinating, by the way. This what's happening.
I think we did this last week too, as we get all this technical knowledge during our broadcast. So why have a conversation?
Gotta pick
We
it
can
up
learn.
somewhere.
Yeah, that's true too. Joe, what are you frying up there, buddy? What is that? The
We got
cauliflower?
the cauliflowers are in a hot oil bath. And I'm gonna make the sauce.
What kind of sauce are you making, Joe?
It's a pickled chili, sweet pickled chili sauce.
Okay,
Mm.
well, that's pretty good. Martha, anything new with you, dear?
No.
So much.
No, there's nothing new. I don't know what to talk about tonight because
Well,
yeah, it's been a slow week, I guess. The weather's been really hot and sticky after it was raining all week. Yeah, there's just not a lot happening.
Uh-oh, Jim's coming back there,
Yep, there he
Martha.
is.
He's in the picture.
Hey,
You got to go up a little more there, buddy.
I can't. You're so demanding. I can't.
Yeah.
It's a professional broadcast out here.
There's something wrong with my Brio camera, and it sucks. Big
Well,
wang, and it's
sorry to hear it.
ridiculous.
That's a nice mic. I like your mic though. I have to admit, that's a nice mic. Or is that a spotlight?
It's a mic. It's a
Oh, it
it's a
is.
blue mic. One of the
Oh,
blue ball.
there we go.
Uh,
More
As they used to
technical
do.
knowledge.
as they used to call Frank Sinatra, old blue balls.
Okay. Well, there's I don't think there's such a thing as free TV anymore except on YouTube. And this is all free. This is all free. And anything new with you, Jim, this week? I guess Martha would have known. So it's been a boring week. There you go.
It's been-
Well,
yeah.
we're exhausted from the heat and the
All right.
humidity.
We're not used to the heat. Yeah, that's
Really?
very, yeah.
Has it been hot out there?
The last 3 days have been pretty warm, like in the high 80s.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Have you
that's hot.
Chili. Have you experienced the Canadian smoke yet? The forest fires from Canada, or did I bypass it?
I think they bypassed us because we had so much
You're my
cloud
early
cover.
warning system.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. And we're still having fires out here. I think we're up to, I forget, 793 fires. Did you know that the fires
Wow.
keep growing keep going in the wintertime too? Out here in Canada, they go underground. They're in the muskeg, and they burn, and then come spring, they come alive again.
That's like a mine fire.
I suppose.
It's like in Virginia, don't they have these mine fires where the coal keeps
Yes.
burning throughout the?
Well, wasn't that
Yeah.
Bethlehem?
Yeah,
Didn't they in
I
Pennsylvania?
think.
You don't have to bring religion in this, you know.
I'm not, but they've got that coal mine fire that's been going for, are we at 100 years on that thing now, or 70? And
Your whole country is like a big tire fire.
no, in Pennsylvania, you have a mine fire, I believe. Does anybody? Okay, whatever. Anyways, so we had a question last week on permafrost. And how does the permafrost affect things? And so coming from the American, I don't know if it's the FDA or climate control, permafrost layer thawing can lead to several impacts on people and the environment. As it thaws, it can turn into a slurry that cannot support the weight of the soil and vegetation above it. Infrastructure such as roads, buildings, and pipes could be damaged as permafrost thaws. The interesting thing too, the more north you go, the less trees there are. So you lose your trees, right? And it's all the permafrost conditions.
Well, that's depressing.
Well, July 3rd, we had the warmest day in the world. And I think it was about 16 degrees Celsius, somewhere around there. But that includes the Arctic and the Antarctic in with the calculation, and 89 degrees in Maine.
We're going to keep having the hottest days in the world, one right after another.
Right.
Oh.
So why are we looking at your fingers, Jim? Is that palm olive you're soaking in? No.
There we go.
There we go.
Since I can't fix my camera.
Well, that's pretty good likeness. It ain't a moose though. Right.
It's an ancient creature.
It is.
Over 11 million years, 11 million years of evolution.
One of the laziest creatures in the world.
No.
Fussy eater too. And a fussy eater.
Fussy eater. They perfected their evolution 11 million years ago, and they haven't changed since.
Right.
It's an amazing creature.
Well, thank you for bringing that up so we can discuss it. But I have something interesting. We were talking about the environment. Remember back in the day, like in the Great Lakes, the phosphates from the soap and the detergent were bringing algae up, right? And killing the fish. And then we had the hole in the ozone layer, right? With the Martha's hairspray caused it, right? And we got the fluorocarbons. And now we have a hole over the Antarctica, which is kind of healing. Apparently, I'm not going to say CO2, but it's something. So instead of, if we concentrate on pollution, especially the right wingers are going, there's no such thing as climate change, right? If we concentrate on pollution, that would help the environment. And would that be a better message to the right wingers? Because we've seen it works.
Concentrate on the pollution to please right wingers. Is that?
Well, the right wingers are going, there's no such thing as climate change yet, up north is melting and
Well,
so my argument is if we concentrate on pollution, we'll kill two birds with one stone. You can talk to a right winger about the smoke coming out of a chimney stack, right?
I don't know. Yeah, you would think that they care? I don't think they care.
Yeah, I
think
don't
it's
think they care.
part
They're
of
big
God's
into the
plan.
campfires too. They don't care.
Leaf burning. A lot of leaf burning going on here in Maine. Big piles of leaves. People just fucking pile their leaves up and
Well, my neighbor burnt plastic in their fire pit the other day, and I give him heck there because I don't want to breathe that crap in, which
Yeah.
is illegal
Yeah,
to do that. Right?
I had a neighbor that used to do that too. He didn't
Yeah.
care.
Was that my dad?
He was an elderly man in his
Well,
80s. Yeah, and he just didn't care because he
Might have
figured,
been my dad.
yeah.
They used to burn all the garbage in British Columbia where he lived. So
Greatest Generation. They don't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
But
no,
have
you know,
they did revert a lot of these EPA rules to pre-1970 status. So I guess people can do what they want to do now.
well, they invented cluster munitions. I mean, the Greatest Generation.
There you go. But they had a job to do and they went and did it. And that's what Band of Brothers is all about. I urge you to watch Band of Brothers because every 30 seconds is a horrific scene of slaughter and you won't be able to go to sleep.
Right.
They fought for our freedoms to burn whatever we want.
And to put pipelines wherever you want.
My dad, part of the Greatest Generation, flew B-29 bombers, 36 missions over Japan, had to bail out 3 times, 3 crash landings. And he climbed out of smoking wreckage in 1945 so that one day he could criticize my career choices. And that's what the Greatest Generation is about, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen to your dad is what you're. Joe, you're glazing a
Oh.
pan.
Yeah, the exciting part now, we got the crispy, crunchy, no longer limp cauliflower.
Okay.
Toss it in the pan, get it all coated, and then ready to serve.
Ready to serve.
Oh, that looks great. You gonna put Parmesan cheese on that afterwards?
Boy, not sure about that one. Oh, my nose is running from all the chilies.
Oh, I'd like that. That looks good.
That does look good, actually. You better throw a little MSG on there too, so it tastes good.
Martha's not a
we
big
took
fan
care,
of
we
cabbage.
took care of that earlier. We
Oh,
got the
hey,
MSG in
there you
the
go.
house.
See?
Oh no,
But it's fried. I'll eat it.
that looks like thimerosal.
I have no idea. So Jim, were you going to write another book in the future here about obituaries and that?
Yes,
your
I have.
thoughts?
I have a bunch of. I have a bunch of finished obituaries that I haven't published yet. Yes.
Would you write an
And,
obituary for this show?
I don't know if I could write one for this show. You know, it's
Are,
Soon.
what are
are
you guys?
are you holding off until, I'm telling you, Kissinger's not going to die? Is that what you're holding off for the next publishing?
Oh, he'll kick off soon enough. You can bet on that. What you guys you thinking of? Are you disillusioned with how this show is going?
No,
Is
not at all.
something
No,
going on?
Not at all. It's just the internet providers are crap. I changed my internet provider. I've dropped out 3 times, and Lee has had problems in the past. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Well,
I'd rather have a coin operated internet. That way I know it'll be there. You know,
Magic
put the-
fingers.
That's right. Just
Kind of going off the rails over here too. I was wondering when I was making the sauce, it's like something's missing. Something's missing. It's too overly sweet. Where's the sourness? not enough pickled chilies. I had enough vinegar. So I said, I'll slice a lemon and just quickly do it when the whole plan was to use tamarind. I had some tamarind paste here.
Mm.
So that's what the other secret ingredient in there was, tamarind.
Well,
Oh, well.
you
Next time.
chefs are really creative, and you can use anything in a pinch. So
Just a cook over here, just a cook.
just the cook. That's right. Well, so is that guy in Russia there, the hot dog vendor.
Ah.
So he's the waiter. Yeah. So
Uh-oh. It's happened again. He's frozen up like Jaime the robot.
Oh, no. Time to open the present.
That was an old reference to Get Smart. Jaime the robot. Are you going to cut open the
Oh, this now.
mango now?
Yeah, this is a very special mango. There's one of the popular ways the kids love to eat it is that when they're ripe like this, you can basically gently squish and massage it so that you basically juice the pulp, and you do it all over the body, being careful not to break the skin. And then you, with your tongue, you bite the tip out like you do a cigar, and then you suck all the guts out. And it's a nice little handy self-contained dessert. They're wonderful. But this time I'm going to slice along the seed and just carve the one side of it out to put over a plate of rice.
You know, your hand actions, every time we've watched you prepare a meal, your hand actions are not unlike a professional hand person, like Vanna White or on Let's Make a Deal. They would always have these nice little.
The Price is Right.
Yeah.
This is our featured fruit for the evening. Thank you for that compliment.
Well, I didn't say it was a good thing.
Oh.
So
But
Yeah,
it's a
those ring advertisements haven't been knocking at my door.
so the featured fruit is a Pakistani mango, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes. Well, we're happy for you. As I look forward. So, okay. So when's this book going to come out, Jim? Do we got to push you? What's the scoop here, buddy?
yeah, as soon as I put my mind to it.
He's
What's it
on
gonna take?
strike.
He's on.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm on strike. Even though yes.
That's
Well, I
why I
was-
don't have a script tonight, Walter.
Jeez, that's fine.
Jim's on strike.
Solidarity.
We
Solidarity.
enjoy just kiboshing or kiboshing with you guys, so that's fine. You don't have to put on a show for us.
I don't have to perform.
No, you.
Okay.
Well, a little bit is nice, but that's
Maybe
fine.
a song and dance.
That's right. So, Joe, are you almost finished your meal? Is that what you're saying? Joe?
Are you trying to rush me out the door or
I am
something?
I
here,
am not,
Walter?
but speaking of Rush, I wonder
Oh.
if he's in the
Oh.
audience tonight.
I'm almost there.
Okay. Well, take your time, Joe. That's fine. Okay, tell me about your life, Jim. Well, you got
My life. Well, as you can see, I worship koala puppets.
What
Martha-
happened to your guys' hand puppets? How come
Martha and
nobody-
we have a nice collection of them, and we're still yeah,
we
worship.
didn't see
worshiping
that,
them.
Martha. Can you show it to us? Oh, sorry. I mean the puppet.
What? Yeah.
So
It's
how's
a-
Oh man.
So where can you find these puppets on Instagram, was it, or Twitter, or where did you have them?
No, they're vintage. Actually, they're probably from 1980. Jim, is that where they're from?
Yes,
Uh,
but in Korea, but
They were made in Korea.
If that's
But the-
vintage, that means I'm antique. So
designed in New Jersey. And
New
but
Jersey?
I think Wally was talking about, hey, can we see videos of these fellas?
yes, very good. Jem is
Yes.
Jem is as sharp as knife
Yes.
in the drawer tonight.
They've actually recorded a song. It's up on YouTube on my YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's
We'll
the
have
song
to.
called? I love eucalyptus.
We have two songs. We have two songs. When was
The koala and wombat song,
yeah.
and
And
I love eucalyptus is their second smash hit.
I love eucalyptus.
virtually everything song, we're gonna have a bunch of songs
Are ya?
by these guys, and they're all gonna deal with leaves, eucalyptus leaves, napping, and fecal pap.
Yes,
Ooh, dude.
we're working on the album and
Yeah,
the
I'd
rock
work.
opera.
I'd work harder, Jim, on the titles. So if I was you, Jim and Martha, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, you're
Okay.
kicking us out already?
Well, no, you can stay as long as you want. Actually, if you want to interact with Rush, that would be good. Rush, are you here?
Well, one of us is here. I don't know where the false Mr. Limbaugh is. But I'm here, coming
We've
to you
got
live
dueling
from
Limbaughs.
hell, 20 miles straight down among the other condemned, falsely condemned conservatives and true Americans.
Here we go. Oh, you know, Rush, I lost you, and I'm sorry I did. Where are you? There you are. Right there. Allow to multi-pin. Man.
Tech in this episode is off the chain.
Where's Snurdly when you need him? Snurdly, where are you? I'm telling you, I don't have a lot of time for this. My schedule is packed. So ask the questions. Let me know what you want to know.
Are you talking to us?
Yeah, are you a smooth brain?
Yeah. What kind of leaves do you like?
Well, I will say, looking at you two, my interview subjects have definitely declined since I've been condemned here to hell. But both of you seem to resemble Hillary Clinton on a particularly bad day.
Yeah, I don't get that reference. I'm not a problem solver. I'm not a problem solver, and I sleep 14 hours a day and eat 4 pounds of leaves. Do you do any of that?
Well,
I think you smoked
absolutely.
fecal pap.
I try to avoid vegetables whenever possible. I prefer a diet of red meat, preferably only slightly cooked. Hard to get down here in hell, but if you know the right people, you can send the right payment up near you guys, and a live animal can be slaughtered, and the entrails as well as the good bits can be sent down here, so I can have an occasional good meal. Otherwise, unfortunately, it is largely vegetarian provisions, but that's because I'm in hell.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you.
Yes, Mr. Fluffy Face.
Hey, fuck off! Look, I got a question for you. How do you keep a wombat in suspense?
All right, I'll bite. How do you keep a wombat in suspense? Very funny. Dead air, dead air.
Oh, freaking
I do not
hairball.
consider myself a wombat. If I had to choose an animal, it would probably be a cougar or a lion, or I suppose the proper animal would be an elephant.
No, I don't get that. We don't have elephants in Australia. Yeah, that's pretty stupid. Hey, how many hours a day do you sleep?
Well, down here in hell, our schedules are kind of reversed. We work all night and then we sleep for a few hours during the day. Now, I have my radio show that, well, when I was on the air back up on Earth was only 3 hours. Now it's 12 hours without a pee break, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm in hell.
Well, Rush from hell. And that's what, when Lane hears Rush, that's what he thinks he's in. So thank you very much, Rush.
You're very welcome.
Enjoy. Yeah, actually, you're a much nicer fellow dead than alive. Has anyone ever said that?
Well,
Okay.
I appreciate that. Please, though, don't tell anyone I spoke to any of you liberals. If word got back down here, I would be flagellated even more than I am on a regular basis, and not in a pleasant way.
Don't eat cauliflower, then you won't get flagellated. Just a thought. Hey, Jim and Ann, sorry, Jim and Martha. Two of my favorite. Can we show one of your I love a eucalyptus leaves video? Would you mind that?
Sure.
Oh no. Go ahead.
Yeah,
But
go
we don't-
ahead. Yeah.
We
Okay,
don't. Yeah.
just sign this waiver and we'll do that.
Oh, okay.
I'm a koala, and I love eucalyptus leaves, in particular, especially in the eucalyptus trees. I'm a koala, the eucalyptus trees, eating eucalyptus leaves and sleeping all day long. I'm a smooth-brained marsupial, and I'm not a problem solver. I'm a smooth-brained marsupial, and I'm not a problem solver. I'm a koala, sleeping in the eucalyptus trees, eating all the eucalyptus leaves in the eucalyptus trees. Low energy, arboreal herbivore. I like to perch in the forks of trees and spend the day foraging leaves. I'm a smooth-brained marsupial, and I'm not a problem solver. I'm not a problem solver. And I love eucalyptus leaves. And I love eucalyptus leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? I don't remember signing up for that. Where's my manager?
Okay, looks like Wally's frozen again, so we're gonna take over. And we're gonna make, yeah, we're gonna make everybody's lives here a living hell for the next 20 minutes.
It's
You're
a
just gonna-
mutiny, Mr. Christian.
You're just gonna look at these fucking puppets, and you're gonna wonder what the hell happened to these two people over the last 3 years during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you say you're
Was that a
koalas, but you
pandemic
look more like
perception?
sloths.
Oh,
So did you guys get a chance to did it cut out halfway through? Because my internet dropped.
No, I think it went through the whole thing.
Yeah. So the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
2.5 minutes of gold.
Yeah, wow, it is. That was nice. And you guys have a couple of more songs up there, do you?
I think we have one other song about koalas and wombats.
Koalas and wombats. Dr. Wombat would actually like that very much as I scan the participant list here. Joe, you want to give us your final
Yes.
solution on your meal here? That looks
Yes.
actually, this is something I could use. I could eat. This is the first thing I could eat, I think. Oh,
Aside from
you
the
put coriander.
coriander, I think you'd be cool with this. Cool as a
Yes.
cucumber.
That's right.
Yeah.
Green onions in there, parsley, maybe, that would be nice.
Yeah. We got the crispy fried cauliflower and a sweet chili sauce.
Okay.
Nice and crunchy, spicy,
Right.
super hot. And then I made coconut rice. You can see it underneath the sliced mango. Smooth and
Ooh.
creamy like velvet. And
Okay.
then I put a little sprinkle of sumac on there.
Sumac, you
It's,
say.
It's not the poison sumac.
That's right. Do you grill romaine at all? Lettuce, that sort of thing?
Well, I don't have a grill here, but I'm very fond of cooked lettuce. Yes. I cook it on stream very often.
Okay.
In fact, I can do it next week.
I think that would be good. Yeah, no coriander leaf. I'm just checking in with Cameron and Charity. Talk amongst yourselves. Are there any questions up there? It's just welcome to the most boringest show on the earth on YouTube.
Oh, come on now, Walter.
Well, okay. Not the guest. It's just me. I'm not feeling well, and neither's my internet. I've dropped 4 times during the show.
You should see a doctor about that.
Yes.
Keep dropping during the
Well,
middle of a show.
I keep
Well-
I switched providers and I'm thinking of switching back. The other one got bought out and raised their prices. And I says, I'm going for the cheapest one I could find. And by golly, I found it. And this is where I'm at right now.
Can you mention the name?
I switched from Shaw to TELUS. Shaw's been bought out by Bell. And I've been with Shaw since 2000. And I asked them, will you match TELUS's price? And they said no. I said, okay. And here we are. And they knew. They're laughing at me right now. They said, good luck. You'll be back. That's what they said.
We don't have any choices down here in America. We just have Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yeah.
The internet for the stars.
Speculum. Oh, that looks wow. Mango and grilled cauliflower. Oh, and what rice? Coconut rice.
Fried cauliflower.
Oh,
Easiest
yeah.
way to a non-vegetarian's heart. I guarantee if you give them crispy fried cauliflower, drench it in salty, sugary spiciness, they'll dig it. Maybe a couple extra sprinkles of MSG will do the trick too.
You're hooked on the
My
same
FedEx
as
account, will you send it? Can you send me some
Mm.
New York?
So crunchy.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Joe. You are a heck of a guy.
You're
And
welcome.
okay. And any questions for Joe? No questions. Oh, I can smell that from my porch.
Whee!
Okay, well, thank you, Joe. And I wonder if DPA is here. I don't think we're going to have Charity and Cameron tonight. They're probably out of cell range. They're walking for Indigenous rights for murdered and missing Indigenous people. And we had a bad thing happen in Winnipeg. Is in a private landfill. 3 people got buried in there, and the government doesn't want to go in and fine them because of health concerns of asbestos and methane. And we're going to talk
Now,
about
were
that.
they moitered and buried
Yes.
or accident? These were
No,
purposeful
there's no accident.
jumping.
No, it's a private landfill, and murdered Indigenous happens in America too as well, and up in Canada. And if you follow Charity's Facebook page, and there'll be a link in there in the show notes, it's amazing as they go province to province how many other people are missing as well. Like Charity's boyfriend went missing 11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And they've never found him. And it's
So they
tragic.
basically could be
tragic.
looking for a mass grave somewhere,
No.
or are these all independent or
No.
individual murders?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And in this case, it was in a private landfill in Winnipeg, and it's going to cost something like $144 million to dig up, the provincial government says, to find these bodies. And they said, we won't stop the federal government from putting in money to find them. But they said they can't afford to do so because of the health risks. Yet the reserve or the band did a study on safety and presented it prior to the findings of the provincial government. So it's a shame that they can't be here. We'll catch up with them next week. And Dave, DPA, how are you doing, my friend?
Hello, Uncle Walty. How are you?
Uncle Walty.
Jim and Martha, how are you?
Hi, Dave.
Hello.
It's
Nice
How
to see you.
How come
Yeah.
Jim's camera's off? What are you
I'm
shocked?
having difficulties, technical difficulties. Don't mind me or us. Very sorry for all this.
How's the weather in Maine?
I went to
Sticky up there? Hot?
It's nice. It's cooled off. We have a bit of cloud cover right
Quite
now.
muggy here. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been though. The last 3 days were pretty warm. It's up in the 80s.
Breaking them records.
Yeah.
They go. How you been, Walter? How's the Great North? Is he frozen?
He's frozen
frozen.
again.
Wow. You can take the man out of the north, but you can't take the north out of the man.
They're gonna dig him up 1,000 years from now
Yeah.
and be able to recreate him like one of those mastodons they find in Alaska.
He's in the permafrost.
That's right.
Yeah, his icy heart is starting to catch up. But hey, well, there he goes. Bye, Walter. And there he is. Hello, Walter.
Hey, carry on.
Thank you.
I am
Yeah,
so-
I mean, I'm not discouraged for the Autonomous Collective. Hey, the first fish on the beach was not exactly Fred Astaire, am I right?
I have no idea what that means.
First fish on the beach
Not
was
not
Fred Astaire.
not ringing a bell. I don't understand.
I knew he was a creationist. See that?
No, there you go. DPA, can do you got something on the schedule, or could you advise us?
Yeah,
of
let me look it
coming
up. What's going on tonight?
Okay, yeah,
Let's
sure.
see.
Why be ready, right? You know.
I'm ready. I just thought you wanted to flatter me or something. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Your show already happened, so that's on you.
Oh, and what a show it was.
And yeah, there's nothing happening at 9 o'clock, but there's always something happening when there's nothing happening here at the Autonomous Collective, because we can't stop talking to each other. And then at 9:30, guided tour of the Twilight Zone with Prof. John. Need I say more? 1 a.m. Late night safety meeting with Henchman 21, watching the Venture Brothers discussing pop culture references, current events, correlations, real world character translations, themes, etc. through any lens desired. Have your nibbles and drinks close by, tuck in.
Wow. So is there something always going on over the
Yeah,
weekend? with this
we just run the Zoom straight through till it crashes. In fact, we do cringe till it crashes, starting at 11. And then we pick up the next Zoom, which is on Sunday, and that goes into Sunday night, which includes Hammer and Sickle, which is probably going to be pretty lame this week because I'm away. Then there's a weekly Marks meeting at 3. And then
Really?
we usually all gather in at 5 o'clock for the Columbo cult watch party.
What if you're a progressive conservative like myself?
You really got to pick a lane, I would say.
Right. So, but there's gardening, there's shop talk, right?
Yeah, so whatever
Oh.
you bring to the table, you know,
Okay.
there's plenty of people full of talent, and they're just interested in life.
There
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
too.
And
And
there's always
and
discussions to be had. You can always plop a subject, and you're always going to get opinions from the people. So
right.
people come. It's like a hub for our
Right.
weekends. We
And the Republicans actually,
Yeah.
a lot of them take courses on Marx. So they want to be able to understand it so they can screw all the liberals. Is my understanding. So
yeah, at least you know how you're getting screwed. If
that's
nothing else.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's been a slice. This internet is not helped out much. Thank you very much, DPA, Martha and Jim. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Joe. Thank you, Ann Lee.
Everybody
I
have a
think-
wonderful weekend.
There was one other thing on the schedule I wanted to mention.
Oh,
Saturday afternoon, we've got, well, first in the morning, we've got a couple readings. Dave does a Red Eye Live reading at 9 in the morning, followed by Rick doing a reading and interpretive dance at 10. And then at 12 o'clock noon, we're trekking with Professor John to look at classic Star Wars episodes. A discussion after that.
Star Trek. My
And-
God, Joe.
I didn't say, I said trekking.
You
Did I
said
say
Star
track?
Wars.
Track, oy.
all right.
But tentatively, I haven't quite heard back from her. This is Susanna at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. She's doing a segment called Bird Conservation, How the Bluebird Was Saved from Extinction. Anyone can become a citizen scientist monitoring a bluebird nest box or another selected avian species. And she'll be telling us about that.
Way to
And then
drag the
at-
audience.
4:30, we've got Valley Vox is doing a special presentation from Frankie C again. And then, like Dave mentioned, at 11 o'clock, it's Cringe Until It Crashes. Try.
Dave, it sounds like there's a lot going on here in this community, don't you think?
We stay pretty busy.
All right, so people should look at the links underneath, and thank you
Absolutely.
very much for joining us today, despite the
Just come hang
technical
with us.
difficulties. Yeah, come hang.
Yeah, we're sure you're interesting as we are.
Okay, thank you. Ooh.
Whew.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Oh,
Thanks.
and you
Thanks,
have to
Ann.
stop the recording on YouTube, top left.
I do? Oh.
You do. Your
Oh,
host,
do I?
or Joe in Norway, you
Oh,
have.
who's, okay, let's see.